And the district began investigating me. And through that whole investigation, and there were meetings that were held, I found out that I was being put under directives of having to call students by their preferred pronoun or gender. I also had to lie or withhold that information from their parents. And then I also found out, unique to my position as a PE teacher, that I was told I need to allow trans students into the locker room. I obviously oversee the girls' locker room. And so, that really caught me off guard. And I clarified with them, are you telling me I need to let male genitals into the locker room? And they said yes, that it would be discriminating if I didn't. If it was a trans student who, is choosing to be a girl, appears like a girl, that I would need to allow them in. And so I was very clear with them. If the student has male genitals, I'm not letting them in the female locker room. And my district said, that's a whole other issue then, because you have to. Yeah. So according to my school district, students have privacy. And so if a student shares information regarding a pronoun preference, or thinking they're maybe the opposite gender of what they biologically are, if they share that information with a teacher, we are supposed to keep that info from parents in case the parent doesn't know. And there's so many issues with that. How do we know the parent doesn't know? Number two, in my opinion, students, we're talking 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds. I don't believe they should have this quote unquote privacy to where their parents are being left in the dark about very, pertinent information about their well-being. Right. Yeah. Great question. Because I've been a teacher for 6 years. I was at the end of my 6th year of teaching, and all was well. I was totally blindsided by this. And again, how it came up for me is, I guess students decided to find me on social media. And again, I'm very clear on social media where I stand with various things. Again, my beliefs, my opinions, my values, my faith. And they found out that I don't believe in the whole pronoun thing. I believe firmly that God created man and woman, and you are who he made you to be. And when someone has confusion about that, I believe, that's lies and confusion from the devil. And I don't believe that it's something that I should be affirming. I don't believe in my faith that that's what love is, that's how God's calling us to love, is by affirming those lies and confusion. So how that came up for me again is students found that out, reported to my school district my views. And then that's when the district began investigating and having various meetings with me. And I found out clearly about the directives that are upon teachers. Yeah, it was intense. It was definitely intense. I knew immediately, like in my gut, in my heart, in my soul, that there was a decision I had to make, because, these two things were totally butting heads. And I had to pick one. Am I going to obey, the district and these directives that, again, are not lining up with, how I was raised, my own beliefs and convictions and faith? Or am I going to stay true to those, and choose my faith, choose to be obedient to, what I believe the way the Lord has called me to live? And so it was crazy to be in the position where I realized that I couldn't be a Christian and a teacher. is what that felt like. I felt very alienated as a believer, and what I read from them as I, spoke on my faith in the religious accommodation meeting, was just a total lack of understanding. They seem to be just so confused as to why I couldn't just set those things aside and follow the directives and keep my job. And again, we're talking about children. These are very moldable, a moldable time in life is when you're a child and your brain is developing, and it's so important that you have very word I'm looking for, good people to look up to, good models in your life, good teaching. And I know I had a rough childhood, and I know that a lot of my students that I was going to be teaching were probably going to be coming from rough childhoods. And I thought, how amazing it would be to be, a light to them, possibly coming from very rough homes like I did when I was a child. And, so it was just so exciting to get to work in a field where it was just way beyond a paycheck, being able to make a difference in a way that was priceless on young lives.